the New York Jets. Now, I had made a short right after the New York Jets lost in embarrassing fashion to the Denver Broncos, 10-9. And my thoughts were and worries are still there with this New York Jets team. While I still think they're a playoff team, I understand it's early, and their wins, looking back on it against the Titans and the New England Patriots, aren't necessarily the best of competition. So now you have to look at it this way. They lost to the 49ers, got creamed by the 49ers, who have not looked amazing or up to the standards of the San Francisco 49ers yet. So, what does that really mean? And they just lost to a Denver Broncos team that, yes, had an impressive win last week versus the Tampa Bay Bucks, but still aren't very good in my opinion. And you're at home. I don't care if it's rainy. New York, New Jersey has muggy weather all the time. You got to be willing to play through that. I understand maybe you don't look perfect, but you got to take care of a home game versus the Denver Broncos, a team you're supposed to beat, especially if you want to compete for a division title. The Bills didn't look great this weekend, so I guess they have something to hang there. Like, hey, maybe we're just as good as the Bills. Who knows? The Bills have looked better. They played better football, even against competition that's not as great. The Jets haven't necessarily played top tier competition either. So, what went wrong for the Jets? Well, the offense stunk. I mean, it's really that simple. It looked like a Zach Wilson game. I mean, the way the offense was play called by Nate Hackett, does he understand? I mean, he's best buddies with Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't he understand that Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of this team? Now, I understand the offensive line wasn't very good, but this has been something I've noticed in the Jets all year. It's almost like sometimes they forget Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback and that he's a great passer and he can find anybody really. Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, completely underwhelming. So many times in this game, especially late, where Rodgers was not on the same page with his targets, which is concerning. And it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault because he's Aaron Rodgers. It's the other players on the team. So you got to take accountability there. I understand. Let's get into this. Because when teams disappoint, it falls on one person in particular, the head coach. I'm not defending Robert Saleh. I don't think Robert Saleh is very good. Did I think Robert Saleh deserved to have a chance with this team with a great quarterback, considering he had a terrible quarterback position situation in the last few years? I believe he deserved that opportunity to go out with this team. However, clock is ticking on Robert Saleh. The record stinks with him, okay? Even though I don't think it's all his faults, it's not very good. He acts like a child on the sidelines, and you could tell with Rodgers – the respect level seems to be going down just a bit. I mean, that's putting it nicely. So let's talk about Robert Saleh. Was the defense really bad in this game? No. Is it his fault that Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall stink right now? I don't think so. Is it Nate Hackett? Isn't he responsible for the offensive play calls? Why did the offense look so bad? I mean, they had their timeouts. They used them well at the end of the game. Clock management was fine. Zuerlein missed the kick. What are you going to do? He missed the kick he should have made. The offense stunk today. I'm not saying Saleh gets no blame or anything crazy like that. He obviously deserves some blame. Team's not ready to play and has had a ton of preparation. But the defense was really good. So we ripped the defense in week 1, and we ripped Saleh for that. Well, the defense was really good. They gave up the touchdown, wide open. Bo Nix almost missed him too. But just got to score. What's the problem here? To me, the biggest issue is Nate Hackett. It's been that way. And here's why it's the biggest issue. They're going to replace Saleh. They can replace Saleh. But are they going to replace Nate Hackett? He's buddy-buddy with Rodgers. That's why this is the biggest concern for me. Because the Jets can have a year that's solid, losing the playoffs early, fire Saleh, bring in a new coach. They could do that. But is the offense still going to be different with Nate Hackett still there? Because he's going to still be there. Likely. So that's my big concern with them. And here's my thing with the Jets. They're going to London. They're playing the Vikings. That's tough. The Vikings are 4-0. So because they didn't get that win versus the Broncos and are up 3-1 with a 3-1 record, I mean, that's going to be a tough game in London. Now Minnesota could have a inevitable bad game. You know, they almost blew the game versus Green Bay. So maybe they just have a bad game. Or Sam Darnold just sticks it to the Jets. I mean, would it shock you with the way Minnesota's playing right now? I mean, Minnesota pretty much dominated most of that game. It wasn't to the end where Green Bay made a little bit of a run. But in the first half, it was all Minnesota. And Minnesota has given you nothing this year to doubt them. They've beaten good teams and they've looked really good while doing it. I'm a big believer in this Vikings team, and the Jets are going to be able I don't know what the Jets are going to do against them. I don't trust this defense against the Vikings right now. This defense is good, they're talented, but they're you can't trust them. Are you going to be able to trust the Jets coaching staff versus the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff? I'm not sure. These are concerns with the Jets. The Jets' concerns this year was never the talent. It was the coaching staff. That's what it was. It was Nate Hackett and Robert Saleh. The two biggest question marks were those two. And so far, they are giving you nothing to prove that they're not question marks. So I think players need to take accountability. I think Saleh's running out of time. I think I think bad losses happen during a season, so I'm not going to say their season's over or anything crazy like that. The Denver Broncos got a nice win last week. Maybe they're not as bad as everyone says. I don't think the Broncos are very good still. You know, despite their 2-2 start, despite their impressive wins over teams that we believe are playoff teams in the Buccaneers and the Jets. But maybe the Jets aren't a playoff team. I still think they are. We'll see. That was a disgraceful game. That felt like last year. That felt like these bad, poor offensive games. You have Aaron Rodgers. Why is the offense so bad? Offensive line's got to be better. They got to protect him. They need to have a better running game. And they got to get more plays. They got to be more creative offensively than what Nate Hackett is doing. I mean, even when the Jets beat the Pats, I still didn't, and their offense was the strength of that game, and the defense was good. I mean, they're not like offensive. It's not like they were putting up the Saints numbers in the first 2 weeks. Wasn't that fun to watch either. Nate Hackett, like run, pass. Just predictable. It just looks so predictable, and it doesn't look good. And they're going to have to fix that, and I'm not sure they will. And with Sean Payton's comments last year about Nate Hackett, I think he was right.